How to get repeat customers without spending more on ads. I think this is something that will speak to most of business owners, and it comes from one of the biggest changes in the world of business nowadays. That is, the client acquisition cost for most businesses will be the same. So it's very hard to compete. You can always slightly improve your ads and your marketing and your branding, but at some point you hit a glass ceiling. And so, what really leaves you for growth levers? Well, the answer is very simple. It's the CLTV, the customer lifetime value, which means how do you make sure that the person who you acquired stays with you for the long term, and instead of buying just once, buys with you tens to hundreds of times. Imagine if Amazon was just selling you and making a business with you only once. It wouldn't be as big as we know it. So, what is the secret of Amazon? How do they do to make you purchase with them tens, 100, 1,000 times? Well, you might have the answer already. And the answer is, well, they're just excellent at their supply chains and their delivery. And this is what I want to reveal to you in this video. There is a 12-step process that you can apply in your business to get to the level of Amazon and other companies. Well, you won't be like them, but the principles to scale and optimize your business for profitability and growth still apply even at $5 million of revenue per year. So I want us to start with a quick passage from one of the best explanations on the topic from Scott Galloway. He is the professor at NYU Stern. He started multiple businesses. He had an analytics company and he was an advising board on a lot of CMOs. And so I want you to play you a passage that is, like 6 minutes long, but it's
one question that overwhelmingly came back from everybody. So you're in Cannes, in front of probably the world's most celebrated brand builders, and you said the era of brand is dead. What's the thought behind that?
Well, if you think about traditional brand building, from 1945 to kind of 1995 till the introduction of Google, the primary algorithm for creating shareholder value was have a mediocre product, a mediocre shoe, salty snack, car out of Detroit, and then sugary drink, and then wrap it in these amazing brand codes: youth, European elegance, American vigor, sex, paternal love, maternal love. We'll take 20 cents a tooth of peanut butter paste and turn it into $2 of maternal love because choosing moms choose Jif. And then we had these incredibly inexpensive vehicles of communication called broadcast medium, where 60 to 80% of the households every night were in one of three places: ABC, NBC, or CBS. So take that shitty car, convince it you're tough like a rock, and stuff the channel with it and print money. The Coca-Cola, you can dance like Michael Jackson, or with that Pepsi. Oh, I drink Budweiser because aren't those frogs funny? And this was the primary means of creating irrational returns to shareholders. And then the ecosystem got so crowded with channels, the returns went way down. And also your social graph and word of mouth and Glassdoor said, okay, and I'll use the example of hotels. I travel a lot. I've spent probably 50, 60% of my life on the road. And I always used to stay at the Four Seasons or the Mandarin Oriental. Why? Because someone else was paying, and they always deliver a 7 or an 8. And when I'm in Istanbul, I don't know where to stay. But now with my social graph and TripAdvisor and Google, I know that the Soho House in Istanbul is the old American Embassy, and it's great. Whereas the Chiltern Firehouse in London has the best room with a lot of hot young people who I like to hang out with. So the brand used to be this weapon of diligence. It was always a 7 or an 8, Four Seasons or the Mandarin Oriental. But now I can find the 9 for me with these new weapons of mass diligence called Google, TripAdvisor. So quite frankly, the brand has diminished in power, and it sounds very passé, but product is the new black again. If you have a truly better product, people will talk about it online and word will get out. So a lot of the capital has been taken out of marketing and is being reinvested in things like supply chain. Can I get you something within 48 hours for free? Can I produce programming for less than money that's really good? Squid Games, Parasite, Money Heist, and just, What do the companies that have added over $100 billion in value in the last decade have in common? They don't advertise. How much advertising does Netflix, Google, OpenAI?
What about Amazon? Because I mean, the old Bezos quote of advertising is a tax on a poor product.
Yeah.
And now Amazon are probably one of the biggest advertisers in the world and one of the most invested in storytelling, actually, back to your storytelling point.
I think they've taken a lot more money in advertising than they put out. They're one of their biggest groups is Amazon Media Group, where they advertise on their site. I don't see them actually as a percentage of their top line income. I can't think of the last Amazon commercial I saw. They buy a lot of keywords, but I think that all the big players don't spend that much. I think advertising kind of outs you as not getting it. And I think this is true of if you're having dinner with strangers all the time, it means you're selling an undifferentiated product. I was in the services business, and my life, when I really distilled, how do I make a living? I started a strategy firm when I was 26. I started an analytics business intelligence company when I was 40. And I thought, my life is renting my brain to old white guys. That's what I did. I developed these proxy father-son relationships with the CMO of a big company, and I said, I'm smarter than you. I'm going to rent you my brain, and I'm going to make you the CEO in 3 years or less. In exchange for this, you're going to give me $1 million to $2 million yearly consulting gigs so I can pay all these other people and make a lot more money than if I was just selling my own time. And I found it just exhausting. And what I say to people is if you're constantly having dinner with strangers, it means you're selling an undifferentiated product. Google was a 10x better product. Tesla's a better product, even though I'm not a big fan of the owner. So all this money has been taken out of branding, traditional branding, gone into direct response, Facebook and Google, and into the product itself. Nobody invested in supply chain. Amazon came along and said, no, supply chain is the opportunity. And they made a staggering investment to get you anything you want within 48 hours for free. No one was thinking that way. Everyone else was just trying to lower the costs in supply chain. Netflix is supply chain, producing stuff in different markets. NVIDIA is supply chain. They said, we're going to design the chip, but we're not going to invest in these factories. Shein, which is the fastest growing apparel company in the world. No stores, no warehouses, no factories, no trucks, no stores. Software using AI to look at the 50,000 to 500,000 people that are on the site at any given time, tracking very closely their patterns and movements. And they go, okay, this top, we're going to need 1,700 of them. And then the software goes, what factory in the Philippines or in Vietnam can create 1,700 most efficiently? The order goes in, no humans. Order comes out, no humans. This is how we're getting it via air cargo to those addresses, no humans, all software, asset light supply chain model. Anyways, it really is an era of product and innovation again. And so the CMOs and marketers, we all love to be nostalgic and say, oh, advertising's coming back, and we give each other awards. Every day there's less and less oxygen in the room. So if you're over the age of 40 and you're traditional branding, ride it out. If you're young and you can get out, get out. It's an industry in structural decline. When I was young, I ran a brand strategy firm. The players were...
So very, very interesting point. Like, it's one of my favorite passages from Scott Galloway. If you don't know him, by the way, go look. He has wonderful insight and analysis on the market, on the broader economy, geopolitics. Really great guy. But yeah, so let's continue with you. So why should you care? And well, I made this document with the help of the AI, of course, but at least it's a AnchorPoint brand voice. So how to get repeat customers without spending more on ads. So the problem, and that Scott Galloway exposed is that you want your customer, you did the work, they pay, then they disappear. No second project, no referral, no response when you follow up. So you spend more on ads to find new customers, you close a few, some of them disappear too. You're on a treadmill, running hard, going nowhere. So a story you might recognize. I worked with a real contractor in Quebec, and let's call him David. He's actually David. David was spending $6,000 a month on marketing. Actually, that's not that much, but for the size of a business, it was good. Facebook ad, Google, he was mainly doing Meta. A bit of SEO. He was getting leads, closing jobs, staying busy. Yeah. But his repeat business was almost zero. It was crazy, actually. Customer hired him once, they vanished. When I looked at his operations, I found the problem in 5 minutes. His estimates didn't match his invoices. Customer got surprises at the end. His team forgot to send updates. Customers called the office asking what was happening. Every job got done, but every job also damaged the trust in small ways. So David wasn't losing customers because of his price. He was losing them because of his handoff and his supply chain and his product and the whole delivery. So, and those patterns, I see them everywhere across the whole economy. So in construction, manufacturing, e-commerce, I spent like 7+ years in e-commerce with the biggest players who were making millions to bringing them to making billions. And pattern there is the same. You spend your energy getting customers in the door, but then you fumble the delivery. The delivery is actually hard. And so your customers, when you don't deliver and they have like great references, like Netflix, Amazon, they just leave, they don't stay with you. They won't talk about you. You won't be remembered. So, we just saw what he was talking about, Scott Galloway. And you should listen to him. He's a very credible dude. So he spoke about this, why it's over. So, and he's really right on one thing. It's like there are a lot of new tools like Google, TripAdvisor, Reddit, the group chats, the real-time reviews. So before you trusted 4 Seasons because you had no other way to check. Now you read 47 reviews, ask 3 friends, and find exactly what you want. So Galloway calls these weapons of mass due diligence. And now imagine they are AI and ChatGPTs and all those semantic searches. So like AI who crawl the web and actually will find specifically what you need, and they'll recommend you the best based on your criteria and your expectations. So imagine if your reviews are very bad or people complain, well, you are excluded from the future of the economy. Yeah. So where smart companies put their money now? So there's Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, and Shein. Well, they stopped spending on ads. They still do. It's important to get the eyes, but honestly, most of their traffic and like marketing happens with their product. What we call product-led growth. And so Amazon delivers anything in 48 hours. Tesla just builds the best cars with the best margins. Netflix produces Squid Games for 1/10 of the cost of Hollywood. And Shein designs and delivers you in 72 hours, which is crazy. They're the best in demand planning. So the Bezos is the one who, in his letters to his shareholders, had that great vision and obsession about the customer. I think that's what I know this is what made the difference, because I worked with his right hand who designed his operation supply chain, and well, basically the customer obsession is the key, and you have to build your business all around customer value chain. By the way, I don't know what happens. I'm scrolling down and it doesn't work, so I start capture. I need to see what's wrong with my capture software. Good thing I checked. So yeah, advertising is tax you pay on the unremarkable product. So, but we know, like, you're gonna say, oh, Alex, like, but I don't want to build an Amazon. Like, honestly, neither do I. It's not fun. The corporate world and building those huge companies isn't like, it is fun, but it's way better to do it at the small scale, on the people scale. You have way less management levels, less politics. You can actually get stuff done, but the principles stay the same. So, the same principle that apply to 500 billion apply to 5 million. That's the idea. And the goal is to make your delivery your marketing, and we're going to see how it works. So when you deliver well, customers tell their friends, and they deliver. If you deliver poorly, customers tell their friends too, and you do. So that's the thing. Word of mouth is still popular, coming back strong. So the math. Your first customer costs everything: ad spend, sales costs, trust building, demos, follow-ups, make a discount to close the deal, right? Then your second sale to that same customer costs almost nothing. And this is the big difference. They already trust you. They know how you work. You don't have to convince them. your third sale even cheaper, and so on and so on. So when they send you a referral, the new customer also closes faster, pays the full price, and complains less, because the customer did the sale to his friend, and so you have to spend less in your whole first cost acquisition, which is crazy. So the real equation is like CLTV divided by the customer acquisition cost. So you spend 500 to win a customer, they buy once and leave, you lose money almost. Same $500, they buy 5 times and refer 2 friends. That's a completely different business, right? That's a completely different business. The real leverage is keeping the customer you already have. So how do you do it? Consistently. So where are you actually losing them? Well, yeah, we actually know. Your real problems is the handoff, not the actual specific execution. Any member of your team actually will know how to do their work if they've done it enough repetitions. The problem is the coordination and orchestration. It's like the orchestra. Like, you know, you have all the music, all the instruments, but if they don't sync to the rhythm, you have garbage result. So we at AnchorPoint are the orchestra. We help you get into the rhythm and find that anchor point. Ooh. Name of the company, so you know where it comes from now. So the work gets done, the gaps between steps, that's where things fall apart, you know. So what handoff problems look like? The estimating sends one thing, the invoice sends another, customer feel tricked. You didn't want to trick them, you just have disconnected systems, right? So sales promises a timeline, production didn't know about it, customer waits an extra week. Well, if you don't have a system to focus people and have that information travel across the journey of your customer, well, too bad. The job finished on Tuesday, billing sent invoices on Friday, customer wonders if you forgot about them. You know, same thing. You don't have a system, communication, imagine the calls, etc. It's easy at 10 customers. Imagine 500 customers at the same time. That's why many businesses say, you know, I don't want the scale. I'm comfortable where I am. I'm making my 100K per year. Buenos. But imagine you made 300 with the same effort. That would be awesome, right? So the customer called for an update. Nobody called back. They assume you didn't care, which is not true. You care, right? You care. I care. So the time disappears between steps. If you know TPS system, MUDAs, that's what it is. And it erodes trust, the cracks. So yeah, the NPS trap. Some business owners tell me, we measure NPS, our customer give us 8 or 9s, we put that score on our website. There's a deeper question to be asked. So what promoters actually do? A promoter on the NPS score, and if you don't know NPS, from 0 to 6, you lose 1 point. From 7 to 8, it's neutral, you get to 0, and from 9 to 10 you get to 1. It's how things are scored. 9 to 10 is a promoter. Then you do the average of your -1, 0s, and 1s, and they give you a percentage. So if your percentage is above 60, you're world-class level. So it means your business is sustainable for the long term and you increase your CLTV. But if it's under a 60 and 0, you're okay, you're good. But if you're under a 0%, well, you are trouble. And as you can imagine, it's way easier to lose a percentage point on your NPS score than to gain one. So it's a very strict measure. The real goal, delivery is so consistent that your customers sell to you. When your customers are true promoters, they tell people for you. And I didn't go up, but yeah, that's the free marketing when people, they mention your names in group chat, tell their accountants, their lawyers, and their gov buddies. That's nice. The referrals come warm, so you get the point. So David, what happened? Yeah, we found 11 places where the information was losing. We modeled his, journey from lead to cash and understood that, there are a lot of gaps in checks. So here repeat business actually went up because, we created mechanisms for him to, engage with the customer better, not forget to do certain value add activities, and to engage with the customer, get referrals, all that smooth stuff. It's amazing. So the framework, there's 11 steps to build delivery that creates revenue customer. And I think we'll need to find a name that is sticky for this framework. So honestly, if you want me to cover that framework, subscribe to the channel, because this video is already too long and there is those 11 steps, but I can go very quickly about them. Step 1, know exactly who you sell. Step 2, learn what they actually value. Step 3, match your offer to each segment. Step 4, map every step from first call to final payment. Step 5, define what a 10 out of 10 looks like. Step 6, build activities that guarantee the outcome. Step 7, put the right person on each task. Step 8, write down how things get done. Step 9, train your team and keep work coordinated. Step 10, build touch points that keep customer close. And step 11, reach stability and scale. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna do a deep dive on those steps tomorrow. So comment, subscribe, leave a like. I had to deliver on my promise from the start of the video. So you saw the steps, but we'll do a deep dive tomorrow. So take care and see you in the next one. Peace.